Hi everybody, welcome to this Family Zone Getting Started with Family Zone webinar. This is number 2, the Favorite Features webinar. It's the second in the series of webinars Getting Started with Family Zone. And tonight we're super lucky. As you can see, we are joined with some interpreters from iSign. So let's get going. So before I move on too far, let's just do a little bit of housekeeping. So you'll see across your webinar Zoom toolbar that you have a Q&A button. If at any point you have a question, by all means type it in the Q&A button there, and I'll take your questions at the end. Also, this webinar is being recorded, so if you miss anything or I'm talking too quickly, you can watch it all again later. All these webinars are stored on our YouTube channel, and I'll give you those details a little bit later on. All right, so to introduce myself properly, as I said, my name is Jessica and I'm from Family Zone. I've been at Family Zone for about 4 years now, and before that time I worked for the Western Australia Police for about 10 years. And during that time I spent a long time in the sex crime division, in the cyber area of the sex crime division. And it was during that time that I really saw a lot of the negative impacts the internet can have on our children. And as you can see from the slide there, I've got a couple of kids myself, and I really started looking for ways I could keep them safe online. And that's where my passion for cyber safety really started. And now I'm really pleased to be helping all mums and dads like us to keep our kids safe online, because all kids deserve to be safe online, don't they? So before we dive too much into the webinar, I just wanted to paint the picture a little bit as to why we are all here tonight. As you can see, some of the stats on this screen are really concerning, aren't they? Let's start on the left here with screen time. So that little stat there, that was a tweet that Fortnite, the gaming company, wrote. And I remember reading that stat in April 2020, players spent 3.5 billion hours online. And I remember reading that stat, and the thing that I noticed was how happy they were about it. But then I thought, you know, that is their business, isn't it? It is their way of making money, keeping our kids connected to their game. But it has a lot of roll-on effects, doesn't it? And us parents managing screen time is a really big issue for us, isn't it? The next one, pornography. This stat here is just huge, isn't it? 93% of teen boys and 63% of girls have accessed pornography. Now, that just wasn't available when we were kids, but this is a reality for our children. And if you don't have a parental control in place, it's not if your children see inappropriate adult content, it really is when. The next one is sleep. Now, as we even know as adults, you know, device use can really impact our sleep. And as you can see from the screen there, 3 out of 4 teens are not getting sufficient enough sleep. And that really impacts, you know, their quality of sleep and how they perform at school the following day. And the last one I want to touch on is cyberbullying. It's such a big issue and it's in the news all the time, isn't it? And 87% of today's youth have been exposed to cyberbullying. That stat is just huge, and all cyber experts agree that being involved in your children's online life can really help keep them safe, and they will come to you if they're having an incident like this. Yeah. So it paints a really good picture, doesn't it, as to why we're here today and why it's so important. So let's get on with the webinar. So a quick agenda. Firstly, I'm going to go over who Family Zone are, and what type of subscriptions we have. And then I'm going to start going through some of our favorite features. The first feature I'm going to go through is our locations feature. And then I'm going to show you how we filter adult content out of your children's access. And that is probably one of our very favorite features. Then I'm going to show you another feature. It's how customizable Family Zone is and how you can make changes to suit your family's life. And the last feature I'm going to show you is how to see what apps your children have on their devices, and a little bit more about how you can learn more about what those apps are and what the cyber experts think. And then, as I said, at the end, we should have time for a couple of questions, and I'll point you in the direction of some more resources and help. All right, so what is Family Zone? It's a really good place to start. If you're really new to Family Zone is a parental control. It's a cyber safety solution designed to keep our kids safe online, no matter what device they're using or what source of internet they're connected to. And some of our favorite features and tools are what we're going to go through tonight, but you can see some on your screen. The first one is how we filter web content, so how we filter the internet for your children, and I'm going to show you that tonight. Another really popular feature is how we help you manage their screen time. Screen time, social media, and gaming is a really popular tool as well. At Family Zone, we have two types of subscriptions. We have our free Insights account, and then we have our premium account. Now, the Insights account is designed just to give us parents just a little bit of an insight into what our kids are doing online. It won't block anything, and it won't filter anything, but it will give you some really handy reports to see what your kids are doing online. Now, if you want to take advantage of some of the more premium features, that's when our premium subscription comes into it. Our premium subscription is the one that will allow you to filter out adult content and how to help you manage your children's screen time, among heaps of other things. All right, so the first feature I'm going to show you tonight is our location feature. So our location feature, as you can see from your screen here, is a great way for us parents to keep a track on where our kids are and their devices. Now, this feature is not turned on by default because it's not for everyone. For me, my kids are still super small, so I love this feature. They're starting to get a little bit more independent now. They like to walk to school and head to the shops by themselves. But what they don't like is when I follow them in the car. So this is a great alternative. It means that I can keep my eye on them and see where they are at all times. Now, if you're like me and you would like to turn it on, what you've got to do is simply go and grab your child's phone and open their Family Zone app, and then hit the little toggle in the top right hand corner, and then toggle on the location feature. And it's really that simple. And then you'll be able to see their location on your parent device through your Family Zone account. All right, so that is the location feature. What I'm going to do now is stop sharing this screen, and I'm going to start sharing my phone and sharing my Family Zone account. So I'll just stop this one. And you should be able to see my phone now. Is that right, Kelly? And as you can see, here is my Family Zone app. Yeah. So I'm going to click on that and open it up. And now you can see my kids. There's Amelia, Harper, and Matilda. And the first feature I'm going to show you today is how Family Zone filters out inappropriate adult content. So I'm going to click on Matilda and scroll down to the internet filters and rules here. Now, in our first session, we went through a few things in this area. I showed you how to see the social networks and games, and I showed you how to see the streaming and the search and streaming media. But today I'm going to start right here with the web categories. So the web categories is how Family Zone filters the internet. So you can see up the top here, at the moment we're in the age group of children 9 to 12. That's because Matilda is 11 and we're in her web categories, and I'm going to show you how that works. So as you can see here, Family Zone has grouped together the internet into categories. So you can see here, anything that's got to do with advertising will be grouped and categorized as advertising. If I scroll down, anything to do with drugs and alcohol, for example, will be categorized as drugs and alcohol. And as you can see here, for Matilda, it's all blocked out. Now, if Matilda was doing an assignment on, let's say, for example, the ill effects of drug and alcohol in our society, and she needed access to this category, I could simply click on the study book here and open that up for her so that she could get her homework done. It's really that easy. Now, I encourage you to come into your Family Zone account and scroll through these pages and see how Family Zone is categorizing the internet together, and see what's blocked out of your child's access. You'll notice that all that adult content is being filtered out. So things like, drugs and alcohol, hate speech, adult content up here. And of course, if I go to the page 4, you'll see that pornography is being filtered out of Matilda's internet access. All right, so the next thing I'm going to show you how to do tonight is how to make changes. So let's say, for example, let's go back to that example I gave you of, oops, I opened up the wrong one. I gave you of Matilda doing the assignment on the ill effects of drug and alcohol on our society. Let's say, for example, I don't want to open up this whole category for her. I don't want her seeing all of the websites to do with drugs and alcohol. There's just one website that she needs access to. So I can go back to this filter and scroll down to websites. And it's in here, I can add an individual website for Matilda to access so that she can get her homework done. So if I click here, add a website, I can type in the website. Like this. And then click that I want to just her to access it only in study time. And then click save and add. So now you can see that the drugaware.com website has been added to Matilda's internet access. So that is a great feature to learn how to do, to be able to add a website for your children. So the important reason why it's great to know how to add a website for your children is to prevent any drama and them rebelling against Family Zone. So we find at Family Zone the main reason why children get frustrated with a parental control is when they legitimately want to access something that Family Zone's blocking them from doing. So, like that example, Matilda just needed to get her homework done, and Family Zone was blocking her from doing that. So now, by learning how to add that website, we can all live happily. Matilda is still protected on the internet, but she can get her homework done and she's not getting frustrated. Now, if you find that your child is tampering with the Family Zone app and removing it, I can show you how to set up some alerts and consequences. So again, if I hit the filter up the top here and scroll down to alerts and consequences. So I can show you how to set up some notifications and consequences if your child is tampering with the Family Zone app. Now, I totally recommend that you actually have a conversation with your children and maybe sit down and have a family meeting and work out what the rules are around device use and technology use in your household. What are the rules? So everybody is on the same page and everyone knows the boundaries, yeah? And that way, Family Zone can assist you by putting on these notifications and consequences. But we find that, if all the kids are on the same page and they all know the rules, they're less likely to tamper with it. But just in case, kids will be kids, you can turn these on so that we will let you know. Yeah. All right. So the last feature that I'm going to show you tonight before we take some questions, I'm going to go back to my family and I'm going to click on Matilda. And I'm going to show you what apps Matilda has on her device. So if I click on apps here, I'll click on Amelia. I know there's lots of apps on her phone. I click on apps and you can see here are all the apps on Amelia's phone. So one of the beautiful things about this feature is the ability to filter up here. If I click on this filter, I can filter by device, by platform, or by cyber expert rating. And I love the cyber expert rating one because it tells me what the cyber experts think about those apps. It'll tell me if my kids have any hazarded or unsafe apps on their devices. So let's have a look and see. Let's filter that. And you can see that Amelia has the Gumtree app on her device. Now, if I wasn't sure about what the Gumtree app was, I could click on it and it will give me a description of what that app is. And then it will also tell me what the known risks are of that app and what the cyber experts think of it. And then as Amelia's parent, I can make an informed decision about whether Amelia should be using that app or not. Another great way to learn about apps and keep on top of everything cyber safety related is by subscribing to our Family Zone blog. We have a great blog and it comes out a couple of times a week, and it's a great way to keep us parents on top of everything cyber safety related, including the release of any dangerous apps. All right, so that is about all we've got time for tonight, but I do have time for a few questions. So if anyone wanted to type their questions in the Q&A, I will take a few questions now. I'll give you a second to type those questions in, and you can type those questions anonymously as well. All right, I can see a question coming in. It's about gaming consoles. How can we, does Family Zone protect gaming consoles? Now, that is a fantastic question, and I get asked about gaming consoles a lot. Family Zone has an app that you put onto your children's devices, but what if your child has a gaming console like a Switch or a PlayStation? How do we look after that? And that is through our Family Zone box. Now, I have a slide about that, so I might share my screen again. Bear with me. All right, so as you can see, it is actually a box, and this box sits neatly next to your modem, and it's how you can create a safe Wi-Fi for your children to connect their gaming consoles to. The beauty of the Family Zone box is it allows you to create 3 separate Wi-Fi networks, one for the kids that's filtered, one for guests that come to your house, and one for parents that is completely unfiltered. Now, if you'd like to learn more about how to set up the Family Zone box, you might want to check out our Getting Started with the Family Zone box webinar. And that is on our events calendar. That's this one here. So www.familyzone.com/ANZ/events. And there's lots of different webinars that you can sign up to, including the Getting Started with the Family Zone box webinar. All right, I'll see if there's any more questions. All right, I can't see any more questions coming through, so we might finish up for tonight. Like I said, this webinar is part of a series. This is number 2, and we have one more coming up, and that is managing screen time during school holidays. So that's a fantastic webinar. As we can imagine, device use just skyrockets during school holidays. The amount of time that our kids are spending on screens really goes through the roof. So I encourage you to come along to that webinar. That's on the 23rd of September, and we'll go through lots of tips on how to manage screen time during school holidays. But for now, thank you so much for attending this webinar, and thank you to Rebecca and Kelly from iSign. Thank you very much, and I'll see everybody. Oh, hold on, I can see there's a question coming through. How do we access this webinar? So if you're talking about this webinar we're in right now, that's a great question. That will be placed on our YouTube channel. So if you go into YouTube and search Family Zone Cyber Safety, the recording will be placed there. If you're talking about the next webinar, which is the managing screen time during school holidays, you can register for that the same way you registered for this one through our events calendar, which is this one just here. Alrighty, so I hope that was helpful. So thank you very much, everybody, and I'll look forward to seeing you at the next webinar. Thanks, guys. Bye, everyone. Bye, Rebecca and Kelly. Bye.